The registry collects outcome data regarding the 90-day period following the operation for all participants, and on an annual basis for 10 years for primary participants. The data collected are to be sourced from the participants' follow-up visits with their surgeon or gastroenterologist who performed the procedure, or any affiliated health professional, or any communication relayed to you about the participant's surgical outcome. Accessing your follow-ups has been improved with the addition of the new follow-up screen. However, you're still able to use the dashboard or missing data worklist as before. This may be preferred if you want to enter follow-ups for a specific patient, as the follow-up screen does not have a search function. The new follow-up screen can be accessed from the Worklist menu or from the follow-up message. We're going to access ours by clicking on Follow-up in the follow-up message. At the top of the page, we have the patient demographics. The ribbon below advises how many outstanding follow-ups are due for the patient. All perioperative and annual follow-ups which are due are displayed as individual rows on the follow-up screen. Once completed, each follow-up row will appear with a green tick mark. As you can see, Sally Williams' perioperative follow-up is complete. Follow-ups that are due to be completed will have the yellow incomplete box displayed. You are able to read and compare the data previously entered for any completed follow-up period by expanding the row. You can only review this data in a read-only access, which prevents the editing of previously entered follow-up data. The missing data worklist is accessed by selecting Worklists from the menu bar on the dashboard. The missing data worklist screen shows the participants due to have their perioperative and annual follow-up data entered for procedures performed at the hospital displayed in the site field. To view participants requiring follow-up data entered for procedures done at another hospital, select the correct site from the drop-down list and click Search. The missing data worklist shows between 10 to 50 participants at any one time, and you can also scroll through the pages. The green tick represents the follow-up data completed. The blue dot represents data not yet due. The red cross represents the follow-up data due to be entered. And the dash indicates information will not be required. For example, the patient Sarah Miller had a revision procedure, so an annual follow-up is not required. To complete follow-up data for a participant on the missing data worklist, click on the red X, and it will take you to the required follow-up screen. Entry of follow-up data in the BSR-i can be seamless for updating patient and/or consultation records once a patient has been seen. Let's go through an example. The surgeon has just reviewed Charlie Roger. Let's search for Charlie by entering his name. As you can see, matching patient record found appears. To enter data for the patient, click on the URN. As you can see, the Actions to be taken screen appears. Click on the Option button, that is, the open circle, to select the follow-up that needs to be completed. Once selected, click Add to Follow-up, and this will take you to the required follow-up form screen. Now let's run through how to complete the perioperative follow-up form and the annual follow-up form. Completing the perioperative follow-up form. The critical information collected for this period is whether the patient had a defined adverse event in the 90 days post-operative period. The following are considered defined adverse events for the purpose of this study: unplanned return to theatre, unplanned ICU admission, unplanned hospital readmission, and/or mortality. The perioperative form as shown on the screen appears when you select a perioperative follow-up to complete from the missing data worklist or the dashboard. Instructions for completing this form can also be followed when using both the follow-up screen and the OpConfirm screen. Alright, let's go through how to complete this form. At the top, we have the patient contact details, followed by the details of their surgeon and site at which they had their operation. Enter the follow-up date. The date of the surgery is pre-filled for your reference. The date you must enter must be between 20 and 90 days after surgery. The follow-up date selected should be either the actual date of following up with the patient or the date when you or your rooms or health service can confirm that your patient did not have any defined adverse events as previously described. If a patient did not have a defined adverse event in the 90 days following surgery, only the follow-up date needs to be entered. You are asked to please not complete the perioperative follow-up as BSR to follow-up. Surgeons and gastroenterologists should be aware of how their patients are faring following their operation. The Defined Adverse Event section. Please select the defined adverse event if the patient had any of the listed adverse events within the 90-day post-operative period. Then choose a reason from the menu which appears once you tick a defined adverse event. If the reason is not listed, select Other and provide any details in the box provided. If the participant had an unplanned return to theatre within the 90-day post-operative period, this procedure must be submitted to the registry as an additional operation. This operation should be submitted as an unplanned revision procedure. You will be asked to complete perioperative data for this additional procedure. Vital status. Indicate the vital status of your patient. If the patient died any cause in the 90 days since their operation, select deceased from the drop-down menu. After selecting deceased, enter the date and detail the cause of the death if known. Please complete the field to the best of your knowledge. You are asked to describe the likelihood that the death was related to the surgery. Select the most appropriate option, otherwise the default field is not yet determined. Once all data are entered for the patient, complete the entry with Submit. To protect data integrity, no changes can be made to the entry once submitted. If an error was made, please contact BSR staff to get it rectified. Annual follow-up data. The critical information collected for this period is whether the participant underwent a subsequent bariatric procedure or a surgical procedure related to having had a previous bariatric procedure. Also, health outcome information is sought regarding the participant's weight, diabetes status, and diabetes treatment. The annual follow-up form as shown on the screen appears when you select an annual follow-up to complete from the Missing Data Worklist or the dashboard. Instructions for completing this form can also be followed when using both the follow-up screen and the OpConfirm screen. Alright, let's go through how to complete this form. At the top we have the patient contact details, followed by the details of their surgeon and site at which they had their operation. In the follow-up details section, enter the follow-up date. Please note, the anniversary of the surgery is pre-filled for your reference. The follow-up date selected should be either the actual date of following up with the participant or the date when you can confirm the participant's outcome data. The date you enter must be within the follow-up window. That is, 3 months prior to the anniversary to 3 months after the anniversary. If you are unable to obtain annual patient outcomes for submission to the registry, you must still enter a follow-up date, such as the 1-year operation anniversary, and also tick the box for BSR to follow up. The BSR call center staff will then attempt to call the participant to obtain the data directly. Enter the participant's follow-up weight. If the participant's weight is self-reported, for example, the review was done via Skype, please tick the box Self-reported weight. Please note, follow-up BMI is automatically calculated once the weight is entered. Indicate the participant's diabetes status. Select the correct option of yes or no or not stated from the drop-down options. If yes is selected, a drop-down list of diabetes treatment options will appear. Please tick the box for the type of diabetes treatment that patient is receiving. Indicate whether the participant had a re-operation in the last 12 months. If they underwent a subsequent bariatric procedure or a surgical procedure related to the previous bariatric procedure. If you select yes, please check one or more boxes to detail why the reoperation was performed. If port is selected, you'll be given a list to provide more options on the reoperation. If the appropriate reason is not listed, please tick Other and provide the details. If a revision procedure was entered into the BSR-i for the patient within the annual follow-up window, the reoperation field will be auto-populated and you'll be unable to change it. Please indicate the participant's vital status. If the patient died during the follow-up window, select Deceased from the drop-down list. After selecting Deceased, enter the date and detail the cause of death if known. Please complete the fields to the best of your knowledge. You are also asked to describe the likelihood that the death was related to the surgery. Select the most appropriate. Otherwise, the default field is not yet determined. Once all data are entered for the patient, complete the entry with Submit. To protect data integrity, no changes can be made to the entry once submitted. If an error was made, please contact the BSR staff to get it rectified.